Let's now talk about exophoric references, which lead us to identify things in the outside context. Exophora refers to the objects which are not in the text but are in the outside world or outside context. For example, we are reading a text or saying something which is not mentioned or being mentioned for the first time can and not mentioned previously. That can be referred to as a referring expression known as exophoric expression. When there is no previous mention of the reference in the preceding text, we call it exophoric reference. And a typical example of such references may be the proper nouns, because we need to go to the outside context in order to understand them, especially when we don't have a previous mentioning of them in a text. Let's have a look at this example. Ronaldo is a great player. We can see that Ronaldo is a name of a person, but player, the word player which has followed, does not lead us to know that Ronaldo is a player of which sports. In this situation, we need to rely on a situational or contextual knowledge of the outside world, or our general knowledge, or our interpersonal knowledge, in order to find out that Ronaldo is a footballer. And based on our outside context knowledge, we can identify this easily. But the player itself, the statement itself, doesn't say anything about which player or which kind of player Ronaldo is. Outside context can be situational context, cultural or interpersonal context. For example, if Ali asks his friend, "Did you buy clothes?" and he's probably referring to an event which is following, and he's asking his friend, "Did you buy clothes for that particular event?" This could be an Eid or any other festivity. So we can identify that event based on the interpersonal knowledge of these two interlocutors. Intertextuality is also can roughly be seen as a connection between the text, especially what has already been mentioned in form of written or oral text. It is based on background knowledge, whether cultural or interpersonal, that have obviously been mentioned in a previous conversation or text, as I just said. It could be based on a certain shared activity or experience between various interlocutors. So by building a connection between the text which was produced previously and the text which is being produced now we can develop the meanings, overall meanings of the text which is being produced now, and this help us in developing the coherence and cohesion at text level. When we know what has already been mentioned, help us to understand what is being mentioned now. So this develops a coherence of the text, which is overall meaning unity of the text. It also can help hearers to interpret the text looking at interpersonal situation, cultural knowledge, etc. For example, I joined a party that was great. If somebody says that was great and do not say the first sentence, I joined a party, so the other person would find it very difficult to understand what was great. So the statement, I joined a party, help us to understand what was great. This is how texts are, or various aspects of text are interconnected in form of intertextuality, and that's a kind of key to understand the overall meaning of the text. We also have some deictic expressions known as Dixs, which are used in the language to point out certain things, and this pointing out help us to understand the meanings of those things in particular situations. We have various kinds of Dixs, for example, person, place, or time Dixs, and these Dixs, as I said, help us to point out things. For example, the pronouns he, she, it are some common deictic expressions used in English language. They used to refer to the persons in language or point out the persons in language. And similarly, we have there and now, which refer to or point out to time and to place and time deictic expressions respectively. So there could be multiple deictic expressions which can help us to understand the meaning in the outside context.